Welcome everybody. This is the fourth episode of The Target, here with your host Heflamoke, and today I got a special guest again. It's Jerex from MVP Hot 6. So thank you for coming. Kudos, I have to say. I hope I pronounced it right in Finnish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
close.
means
It's close.
thank
I
you.
understood.
So it's really
Good
nice
one.
that you come along here, and I didn't actually have you on the list as a specific guest, but now that you have like this surprising performance, actually for me it was not surprising because you have been on my prediction list very high up, but some people they just didn't have you guys on the list, and that's why I thought if there's ever a good time to have you as a guest on my show, it's this week. And because also, of course, you have a horrible tight schedule. We just talked about it was so, I don't know, so difficult to make it happen because you actually went back to Korea right now, and now you're
Yep.
going back to Finland within the next 24 hours. So you fly pretty much 10,000 of kilometers within the last 2 days alone, and more to come.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
alright.
let's get this started. I tried to look up some informations on you, Jerex, and there is not much because people that interviewed you that they mostly focused on the team, on the current performance, on maybe your trip to Korea, where I also want to talk a bit about, but nobody really focused like about or on the person behind the player. So tell me, you're obviously Finnish. So,
Yep.
where have you been born in Finland? Like, you have siblings? Tell me some private stuff about you, like the normal biography in a nutshell.
Yeah, by the way, guys, can you keep it down a little? Guys. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So basically, I'm born in Helsinki, capital of Finland. Played football, really just a small kid, doing normal stuff, video games with friends. What else?
Well,
Was there some other questions?
you have siblings, or you're just a lonely child?
So I have a big sister and a big brother, both
Okay, so you're one
a
out of
few
three,
years.
the sandwich child, pretty much.
Yeah. No. Big brother and big sister.
Oh,
So
both
the
of them.
last,
Yeah. Okay.
so the last, um, how do they call it in English? I don't even know.
Well, doesn't even matter. And like, what was your education? Did you actually stop your latest education? Did you graduate like high school, and then you went into like full-time esport?
So I graduated high school and I went 1 year now for university doing pretty much nothing and yeah,
Yeah. So that's
played
that's pretty
games.
much the steps where you are at life, pretty much. And okay, so that's I don't know. That's like the normal summary. Like, did you have any exposure to video games whatsoever? Like, what did you? I don't know, because most people I talk with and they tell me how they got into esports, it was mostly their parents already having like a early PC or consoles, or their bigger brother got them into it, or friends, or they just I don't know, they just liked video games from the very very early ages on, and that's how they got into it. What is your history around that?
So basically, I was like, I was probably like 10. I lived in this neighborhood. There was a lot of like people who played actually games. We played a lot of board games as well,
Mm-hmm.
surprisingly much, and I think that was more interesting to me at that point, and I think that's where I started to like compete in a real way because Finnish people are not that competitive. I would say they are
Yeah.
not. They are a little bit afraid to play each other, but they like to like as a teamwork. They want a team effort, and
What was your first entry game? Like, I mean, let's say the first game you actually played on a PC, and the first game where you really started to like enjoy the competitive part of pretty much video gaming.
I think it was like a demo of Age of Empires one that I
Yeah.
played ridiculously many times, the tutorials and stuff, and I never understood what I did. But in the end, you started to like knew all the words in English, but you never actually understood what they mean, and
Yeah.
then it of course evolved into something. You still see the same words in Age of Empires 2 and 3, and
So you belong also to this generation that learned pretty much half of their English, like the cyber kids in video games. It's kind of impressive because like they know a lot of English even before they have it in school, for example, just because they played a lot of video games and they were forced into it. I mean, nowadays there's a lot of localization going on with games and everything, but back then we only had like one version that was English, and you had to find your way through. 10 years later, you finally found out what the words actually meant. But yeah, okay. So that's pretty much like the biography in a nutshell. So given the fact now that you went out of high school, you already played video games. When was your transition to Dota? When was the first contact with Dota? Dota 1, that is.
it was before high school. There's a guy called Nama, who's a Finnish StarCraft 2 player. He won, for example, DreamHack 2011, I think.
Hmm.
And okay, he's former now, but he introduced me to Warcraft 3 because he played it competitive himself at that point when I was basically just starting, and basically I was first playing Warcraft 3 for like a few months, and then I realized there's these custom maps, and
Yeah.
basically at some point he introduced me to Dota, and I got interested into that, but he was never really interested himself
Yeah.
at that point.
So you discovered like the custom maps just like we did back then with the developers like Gunzo, etc., and like the different kind of versions we got fed over the years. Dota 1, however, it never really got picked up in a fast pace as we wanted to. Everybody was expecting, okay, with the downfall of Warcraft 3, there will be someone like, for example, Blizzard picking up Dota, and that never really worked out. Then eventually IceRock got, of course, hired by Valve, but it took a lot longer than we expected, and some games popped up. Obviously, there's League of Legends. Yes, eat that, guys. Dota was first. No, but there was of course also here Hon, of course, Heroes of New Earth coming out, which was the closest thing we had to a Dota replacement with better graphics, similar balancing, etc. And at times Hon was a relatively balanced game when they really put time into it to balance it. And as far as I know, you played alongside with Sing Sing and Era in the Hon
Yeah,
time.
yeah, I did. Basically, my competitive, like I started to play competitive in Han. That's where everything started. There was like a couple of groups of Finnish people just gathering up and playing together, and we did pretty good by back then.
Yeah.
We started from like straight from the beta, so like we knew everything, and I think we were probably the highest in the. Did they call it PSR?
Hmm.
The what was it called? The MMR
I don't
kind of
know. I never
thing.
played Hon. That's I'm really a noob when it comes to Hon. I know the people that came from it, but like the game as such, I tried it just a couple times.
Yeah, basically, yeah, I did play with Sing Sing and Era, and that was much later though. That was like after 10 teams of disbanding and reforming, and there were these people that actually managed to disband every single team they were in. They were known for that, and I was multiple of this, and it's kind of funny how everything kind of settled up at some point.
Yeah, and at some point you made then the step into Dota 2. It came out. You immediately played it like when the beta came out. I mean, there were a handful of beta invites. Everybody was craving for a key. Everybody wanted one. Were you one of the first ones, and then going directly into it?
No, so after I stopped playing Heroes of New Earth, I had a military service right after because it's mandatory in Finland,
Hmm.
and I stood there for like 9 months straight. I that point I played League myself, I think, and
Ooh.
so I'm a dirty player. Played everything
Yeah.
except Smite. I played even Strife. I don't think you know Strife.
Yeah, though. Yeah, I do know Strife. It's
um, but yeah, I I felt like I need a casual game. I couldn't play Dota 2 because my laptop couldn't run it at all,
okay.
and I basically had a Wi-Fi, and it's just terrible,
Yeah,
terrible to try
it's
to even play.
horrible to play on
Yeah,
such conditions.
but
Okay,
I could
but
play League. It was surprising, and there were many people actually playing League, so
yeah,
it was okay
I mean
back
player
then.
base wise, it's we have to say it. It's a big game for sure. But of course, Dota is a game of passion. People actually make a conscious choice of what game they play. Um, I mean, looking back at all the experience with the other games, like you actually think Dota is the king of those games? It's not
No, I think Heroes are newer.
really
I'm still a fan of the game.
okay.
I'm actually sad that it didn't come up anything bigger.
Okay, that's interesting. Usually the guys from Hon they say like, yeah, I mean it was a good time at Hon, but Dota 2 is the right thing to go for. That's where we are right now, and that's what we want to pursue. Okay, at some point you made the jump to Dota 2, however. I got like the pretty much the four significant teams where you were part of for sometimes a longer, sometimes a shorter period. That was in 2013 with the QPAD Pandas, right? That was I think the first notable team. After that there was 4AC.
Yeah.
Team Tinker in 2015, so we are pretty much already arrived in the present right now. And of course, with Tinker, that didn't work out. That just went for like 2 months or so, and then your step to Korea came. I hope I got the right order there.
Well, there was a few teams between QPAD and 4SC. There was some Rat in the Dark and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's much more smaller, I guess, for people.
So none of these projects really worked out, and yeah, I mean,
Well, what do you say that what worked out? Some people see it different. I'm by myself. I think it's much about experience.
yeah,
Like all the past experience so far, I don't see that they have all just been like useless things
yeah.
that fell down and
I
trying
mean,
to
you know
get
how
her
the
up.
Dota 2 community is. They only say like, "Oh yeah, I know this team that it must be something good," but like in fact you enjoyed all the little projects on the way. You met different people, different playstyles, and you learned from all of them, I guess.
It's much about how the actual team, how it like settles down at some point. That things don't work out, but you still end up being friends. Like that's a really big thing.
Yep. And like those team changes, like the let's say the recent one, like what actually didn't work out. I mean, 4C is like a team that recently, for example, made a name Team Tinker. Okay, that was kind of a failed project. They never really got the synergy even after you left with replacements and everything. That didn't work out. But eventually, then you went to Hot Six, where there is apparently synergy. You guys stick together for quite a while now. The performance is good, but what was the main reason those other projects failed? Was it the players not synergizing, just a lack of success?
No, not lack of success. I don't think it was a big part of the like the my leaving because I feel like there's like a certain stage of the teams. At some point, there's like the slower phase, and sometimes there's like the really motivational phase. And for example, for AC, we had this really slow phase going on, and Finnish people are usually this kind of people. It's hard to come up with the right words like at the exact moment, and hard to figure out things together. And we made some mistakes. We could have like, for example, contacted our manager and figure it all out, but
Yeah.
it ended up this way, and I think most of the players agree how it ended by
Yep.
me leaving. I think they agree what I did, and it was towards the better.
Okay. Just for my little brain and for the timeline, like, because I knew you more as the cancerous Earth Spirit picker that you were absolute legend for. I mean, you played that hero like no one else in performance as well as in quantity, and that made you a name a lot in the community. I don't know how many dedicated Reddit thread you got back then, but I think this was for your personal exposure for you as a brand, as a player, as a name. That was a huge exposure there. You think that helped you, and where did that actually happen? What time frame are we talking? Was that 2014?
Yeah, last year. I didn't mean to do anything like that. I didn't understand the hype at all. Like at first, I still don't understand why do people. I don't see anything specific, any specific reason to do so. So I'm still speechless. Like, why would people hype it? I I'm I was shocked at first. I was like, what is going on?
Okay,
Like,
then tell me the other way around. Why did you actually pick so much Earth Spirit? Was it really just a easy MMR? Because the hero at that time was, I mean, we talk about the Earth Spirit that was not adjusted. I mean, he lost a lot of his flair right now. Um, he's still strong in my opinion, but obviously back then he was even more of a cannon, right?
no, I personally think that MMR is meaningless in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like farming it makes no sense at all, and I think I found a hero more exciting than any other hero so far. I've never like ever had a that kind of experience of a hero, except in Han. There was a few heroes that I really liked, and I would still like to play them.
Yeah.
But
What was it you liked about this hero? The high mobility that you can get pretty much from the left to the right corner of the map within 3 stones or something like that?
I didn't like the imbalance things. For more of the skill shots and the way the hero and for example the ultimate, like it comes down to really high level in the end. Like it's not just you press ultimate and drop some stones. It's about how you drop the stones and you keep up the exact, because there's the downtime.
Yeah.
So you have to think about the seconds constantly when you have the ulti played, and
Okay. Anyway, so you
it's
say
hard to explain.
you say pretty much like the exposure you got with all the Earth Spirit picking, like the excessive Earth Spirit playing, which at least Reddit put you in that position. You say that was more or less like coincidental. It was never planned on your side, because
No, yeah.
because other players they are kind of known for it. Like there are certain pop stars, for example, that made it from pop star into, for example, the professional scene. Let's for example look at Viha, for example. He was known for his meeple. Similar to actually No Tail or Sing Sing. Like they have certain heroes or a certain style how they present themselves on the stream that made them famous and made them also, I don't know, a lot easier, because the fact is a lot of organizations, when they put up teams or when they look for free agents, they look for names. And of course having your name promoted by anything, and maybe it be a stream, for example, Earth Spirit Picker, you think that helps? Like getting, I don't know,
Getting a
into,
team,
yeah.
or no, I wouldn't say it's helps getting a team. I mean, of course, there's four other players, and who don't give a fuck how much Earth Spirit I've played. They care about like how do I play competitive and what is my actual play style, and it's like a. I don't think it's anything related to team, but of course the sponsor cares about it.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing, but I don't think I'm worth anything in that sense.
Okay, because that's something I wanted to talk about. Many people, they know, okay, this team has those players, everything is fine, but like how those players actually start. I mean, let's just say I'm a random guy. I buy a PC, I install Steam, download Dota, and I practice for X amount of time, and I want to go competitive. How do I actually do that? How does a player get exposure? How do I meet the right people? I mean, I know it from my side because I know the manager side, the organizer side, but I want to hear from you, the player side. You play well, you play a game very well. How do you get to the right people on a competitive level? How do you meet them?
Well, there are different kind of these gathered up community locations, I could say, like FPL right now. I don't know how people get there on that level, but for example, IXDO was a really good thing. I would say that that's a good start.
Yeah.
So getting on IXDL level
So
by
just
just
for the
farming.
viewers, like for those who don't know, like IXDL was a low budget software that provided an in-house system where people of similar MMR, like okay MMR, let's say skill level, could play it together. And most people know it from the North American. That's I think the biggest IXDL league we ever had in-house system. Europe was never really that famous, but still. Okay, just as an explanation for the viewers.
Yeah, I don't really know anymore. like back then there was a lot of in-houses in Heroes of Newert, for example. There was a really big community just in-housing together and joining same lobbies, shuffling the teams, and eventually like you could see some people, you could see potential in them, and you're like, maybe we like try something bigger and play together like multiple times instead of just once per day in a random in-house, maybe even against each others. So like I think it's much about like it starts from pubs and just playing constantly.
You think there's also a bit luck involved? Because I know some players, for example, when I started out with esports, I know some players that they try to get team projects up for a year or longer, and all of them kind of failed. Sometimes it's also a bit luck involved to find the right constellation of players or the right manager that gets the right constellation of players together.
Well, even right now, it's of course luck. Like whatever happens in the future, you don't know. Like you might just end up not playing Dota anymore because you don't have a team, or you know.
Yeah.
But at that level, yeah, it's really good to be friends with people that know even more people that even know these pros, and you know
Yeah.
that you could talk to even like. But I think it's important to someone is spamming me, I think.
So networking is definitely also a part of it. Okay, I was curious about that. So now that we got this out of the way, after Team Tinker, like your 2 month visit pretty much with the team, it didn't work out. The reasons are kind of not interesting at this point. What's more interesting to me and also to the viewers is the step to Korea. How did that happen? Specifically to Hot Six. Did you get approached? Did you approach them? Did you meet the players? How did that happen?
Basically, it started from me leaving, of course, Tinker, and then I started to look for teams. Like I wanted to be active and possibly have a chance to play competitive. Even like it doesn't matter if I don't get to T. I didn't mind that much, as long as
Okay.
I get a competitive experience and just keep up on shape. Because I think that's the most important part. Like right now, many teams didn't make it to TI, so they're gonna be like, well, I could
Disbanding.
be like casting or you know,
Yeah.
casting or watching replays or you know, let's just keep up like anything going. But yeah, so I knew Heen from DreamHack before.
Mm-hmm.
We met there when I was in 4SC and we talked some. But that didn't mean really anything, of course. I just asked about how Koreans are because Heen's English is like superb to a normal Korean that
Yeah.
you could compare.
I mean, I met him
And
as well when we met in Malaysia like 3 weeks ago, and he was the like character wise the most Western style guy out of it. I don't know how I can describe it, but like he came along as like a guy you can really just approach, talk to. There's no awkward culture difference whatsoever. It really felt like he's genuinely interested in what you talk about and everything. So that yeah, I can imagine him being the right guy to approach, for example, on an event for networking purposes.
yeah, so basically we talked some. And after me being teamless, I talked to Black some, and he was also interested in joining different teams. He was also interested in joining Hot Six at that point,
Hmm.
as he talked in his interview, and he introduced me to this team because they were lacking players at that point, which why I wasn't informed at that moment, and
Yeah.
he said that I should probably try to join and you know
And this is
try.
actually where a lot of questions for the from our viewers are coming in, because you made this conscious decision. You had this offer from Hot Six to join them, and which is kind of unusual. Like Western guy going to Korea. We only had like this project Sapphire, which was sort of like a Western team just going to Korea, and everybody argued back then like how good are they? Are they actually the right guys to like to teach the Koreans, or who's teaching who? I mean, you saw it within a year. Sapphire was not even the dominant team anymore. They actually struggled against some of the Korean teams, so the Koreans learned really fast. But communication, how was the communication within the team? I know Heen has a decent English, but for example, I know MP, his English is not the best. So how does the
Yeah, he has
communication?
good English. He has really good English. Yeah, I think he has better than me.
Okay.
And he's from. He's not exactly Korean, so he has his Philippines background, and yeah, I think everybody except for him, like we keep up kind of on the same level, and he's not a problem though. If it's not a trouble really, it's
Yeah.
just sometimes it just ends up being a little issue, but you can talk around it and talk together and fix it by that.
Okay. So
But
in the end,
English,
yeah,
yes.
it's all English, and sometimes there is a tiny problem, but eventually you just get around all this by, I don't
Yeah,
know, you get used to it. You scrim so much, you practice so much, so it also comes down to vocabulary. I mean, we had the same problem with Black, for example, that Black in China learned like a certain set of vocabulary everybody agreed on, and then you didn't need to talk about, I don't know, your grandma's best cookies or whatsoever. It all came down just to the common things you said in Dota, and then everybody knew what was going on, right?
yeah, it comes down to experience a lot as well. Like the communication becomes more of a tool instead of like a thing you really need to do constantly.
Yeah.
It's like this efficient tool you can use, but when you play a lot, uh, yeah, it's hard to hmm, put it in words. Um,
There's also
but yeah,
yeah.
sorry. It's basically you start to like learn how they play, and you start to think the same way, and you're basically predicting how they play, so you can play around it, and you don't need to talk about it anymore. Like it's things
Yeah.
that you just kind of you just get it into your head, and you can't really like it's hard to explain.
So you
So
pretty
yeah.
much like synchronize your brain waves till you're like, completely
Yeah, basically, yeah.
yeah, on the same thing, and then you just know what the other guy is thinking even
When
without
you play,
talking.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When you play a lot, that happens. I think it's really common.
Would you say this is also like the magic key for some of the teams? I mean, we talked about how many projects actually get started, how many players are getting brought into a team. Like this synchronizing your brainwaves, knowing what the other thinks. You think this is the key to actually saying this roster works out. This set of 5 players is gonna be successful because they have this same bottom line, I guess.
Yeah, it's much about playing together for a longer time rather than it's about the players really synchronizing together like as like a perfection or something.
Hmm.
There is no real like perfect synergy between the teammates ever. There's always gonna be something you just have to talk about, and it's never gonna be fixed. But in the end, you can fix a lot of things just by playing together a lot.
Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting thought because like the everybody, maybe the managers, even some players, casters, etc. They always talk about like the team like synergizing, and you pretty much say like there's no such a thing like as 100% synergy. You practice and you can pretty much, I don't know, stamp even 5 players together with a lot of practice. So for you, it mostly comes down to practice. Practicing hard is the key to success all the way.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
it's a really big thing. Yes, I
Yeah.
think so.
Also, staying with the viewer questions, some people were curious about the fact how the whole MVP organization works. I mean, obviously you have MVP Phoenix, you have MVP Hot Six, etc. Is there any interaction? Do you guys scrim together against each other? Do you, I don't know, interchange somehow strategies, thoughts about the meta, etc. Or are you completely separate identities?
Basically, after both teams qualifying, we were both really happy because there's a big chance we're gonna be practicing once again together. So
Hmm.
yes, there's like a in a way cooperation, but we try to extend it now to a new level of like understanding each other's better, because there's still like the old members of the Phoenix and the new members in this team, and they of course disbanded, so there's like kind of rivalry, and there's some emotions at times. So
Yeah.
people now want to fix that and be more of a team together rather than have these emotions burst out. And yes, it's a really good thing that we have them actually like just a wall next to us, and they're like, behind it.
Okay, so there is definitely interaction. You guys can change thoughts on what's going on, etc. Like there is actually like a bigger family. It's not just the 5 players of Hot Six. In the worst case scenario, there's also like Phoenix, and you can somehow, yeah, I don't know, help each other if that's possible. But of course, if you guys are competing in the same tournaments, which actually happened, I mean, you played even the finals and the TI qualifiers against your buddies pretty much from the same organization. Do you guys switch completely into competitive mode? Then like all the friendships and helps and scrimming together is forgotten, and you're the fierce enemy?
Well, not forgotten because you play them, so you kind of
Yeah.
have to remember what they did the last games. But yes, to me, I don't think it's so hard for me to do that. But the others might be because they have been playing together for years, and now they just like split up after like a half a year ago. So it's probably harder for them to like fully focus on the game and forget who are you playing against.
Yeah.
And to
Okay.
me, it's like I don't really have any kind of connection, so I can just play like any other game.
Talking a bit more about your teammates, but just focused on MVP Hot Six. I mean, right now the roster is obviously Heen, Forev, then MP, you, and we have Zombie in there. Like
Sunbai.
hmm?
Sunbai, we call him.
Zumbai. Okay,
Yes,
pronunciation.
it's
Good.
important.
I learned something again. No, but there's a viewer here on Reddit who was curious about how you actually perceive your teammates. I mean, you already talked a bit about Heen. It's the first guy from Hot Six you met, and I met him as well, and he was like the more Western guy. I described him that way. But describe for me in short, just some words. Like, how are the other teammates to you? Like, give them some qualities, some characteristics.
Qualities. Oh, these are the hard questions. Because I'm really, really bad at like expressing how I think about other people. MP is a really humble guy. I can't watch him right now. It's terrible.
They're sitting right next to you.
He's also a little shy, so
yeah.
it makes it even more awkward. He's like ready to do whatever to win. He's kind of a supportive mid, you could say, because he listens a lot what you tell to him, and also acts in like a supportive way. So he might just end up making you space instead of you making him space. And Zunbai, our offlane player, is like really dedicated for his job and super try hard. If you watch him laning ever, he's taking it pretty much to the next level every time. And he's also a really big part of like overall team communication and leading the game, as you could say. Like making bigger moves than just the regular.
Is he calling the shots as well in the game?
Shot calling is I think everybody does that.
Okay, so you share this pretty much. There is not like one dictator style player that does everything and the others they just give like small input. It's more or less everybody doing it at some point.
Yeah, I think it's also on how people are on mood, and yeah, it's really like a game based, I could say, like how you woke up to this day, and you know, some people when other people are a little bit more silent, the other people like talk over them, because it also like helps out them to be more active again, and you know,
yeah,
if somebody's feeling bad, you make them feel better, right?
Okay, going away from the players a tiny bit. Korea, how is Korea? Like I know this is it's kind of a retarded question because there's so much to say. There's a culture, there's a language, there's food, there's everything you can talk about. But I mean, you're a very Western guy from the midst of Europe, pretty much from Finland. Um, it of course it's a cultural difference, no doubt about it. You go there. How did you like? Did you get assimilated already, or are you still like the odd man out in all of these Koreans around you?
I've learned a lot of culture, but the language is kind of lacking, so
Hmm.
I can't say that I'm fully like Korean at all. And but I know the very basics.
Okay. So you could go
Food
shopping.
is yeah, it's not a problem. I mean English is problem here, but if you're not too shy and you just go, you're like whatever. They don't talk to me, so I don't talk to them. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be awkward for them as same as me. So I make them feel more awkward than for myself.
Okay, I mean, you're definitely not someone who has like a problem with awkwardness and stuff. You go just straight forward. I mean, I
No,
met you in
because I
Malaysia,
know
so
they
yeah.
feel awkward.
Yeah. So
Because
you feel
blonde,
comfortable that they are definitely more awkward than you are, so therefore there's no need to
yeah,
be shy.
because I have my blonde hair and European look, so they're gonna be so awkward.
And
They can't handle.
how's it with friends and everything besides the players? I mean, obviously you guys are bonding. I mean, you're in a house, not just with the Hot Six guys, you're also with the Phoenix guys around you, and of course there's a lot of friendships, I guess, happening and evolving. But how's it with people outside the MVP house? Pretty much, you make connections.
Yeah, I met a few connections. There were some Finnish guys visiting me here. They were on holiday. They also visited Japan after. They wanted to see the house, and
Hmm.
I showed it a little. And I met a few Koreans these past months, but not many. And well, I can't really like. I've met so little that I don't really have like a general idea of. I don't have a like this general overall view of them.
Yeah. Okay, I would say that that gives us definitely a nice idea how things are going around in the MVP house. Talking about your TI performance, I mean, I had the honor of casting you guys and meeting you guys in Malaysia. That was about 2.5 to 3 weeks before the TI qualifiers even started. And
Yep.
you won the MPGL qualifiers. Of course, besides winning a tournament, doing something for your own motivation, of course, getting money, it also showed that you're pretty much ready. You fought against quite the most known C teams as well as one team from China, EP, and I mean, you know how excited I was that you guys picked, for example, Husker. Like the entire time you run like kind of standard draft, and then suddenly you go for a Husker, which threw me as a caster completely off because like not in a lifetime I could have seen this one coming. And on the after party, the first thing I asked you when I met you was like, "What the hell did you guys think with that Husker pick?" And you pretty much told me you wanted to throw off the Chinese. You just wanted that they don't know what's coming, and it worked out wonders. It worked out absolutely wonders. The Husker picks by MVP Hot Six are probably the hottest you can see.
Well, it's really game based, and of course we have practiced it a lot.
Yeah,
Against, for example, Phoenix is like super afraid of it because they have lost probably every single game, and you could see it in the qualifiers. Them banning it every time second phase. It's kind of funny. I don't know. Like it's just a cheese pick, I would say.
yeah. But talking about heroes anyway, I mean, I saw like alone in the best of five against Phoenix, and before that, I think you played about 7 different heroes alone just in um say it in the winner bracket system. It's kind of impressive how many heroes you guys play. I mean, not just you personally, but how flexible the whole entire Hot Six team is. Is that kind of part of your success at this point that you are comfortable
I
with a lot of heroes?
I thought we are not flexible enough.
Really? You want to be
Yeah,
even more flexible?
I don't think we are picking flexible enough myself, and
Okay.
I wanna change that to TI. But maybe your perspective. It's also
Well, I
people not
compare it to other
knowing
teams. So
compared to other
yeah,
big teams. Well, for example, TNC is like super random. If you look how they
yeah,
draft, it's
that's
like
true.
so unpredictable. And being a team like that, I would like to be that. But at the same time, it starts to be too flexible. that on a certain level you're not really sure if it works out anymore. You're not so confident, I think,
Yeah.
unless it
Okay.
has worked before.
But I think
So
this
I
is
think
yeah.
I think there's some improve. We need to improve in flexibility, but it's pretty good, I would say.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. A lot of viewers they asked like very general questions about the meta currently. I mean, the last patch had a big impact, okay? And I'm not even talking about the two mini patches we got after that adjusted some numbers around Gyrocopter, for example. Like, the patch in general, like, what do you think about this patch? Like, you like it, personally? So the...
Yeah, I felt much more motivated coming into this patch just right from the start get go, and just by the how the kills like the how do you say the bounty of the kills is like much higher. The XP changes are not so drastic anymore,
Hmm.
and the comeback mechanics. I feel like it's the right way of playing Dota
Are you sick of Leshrac
because
by now?
not really. I think it's not fully discovered the hero and the counters.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure if it's that good as people think, but maybe at TI we will not see it as much.
yeah.
There might be like a patch coming before, right?
Because right now I'm also often baffled as a caster to see the games and see the first four picks or the first four buns happening, and they let Leshrac pass. And for example, today I casted TNC. You mentioned the team just before, TNC versus Arcanis, and in every game the Leshrac was probably the top damage dealer in every fight. The synergy between other heroes may be Shadow Demon Disruption into Earth Split, or a Vengeful Spirit Magic Missile into Earth Split, and then the follow-up damage. Every time, pretty much the core damage was the Leshrac, and nobody could really stop him at the point where he had Soulstone and Octarine. But nobody's banning him. I'm like, guys, okay, nobody can ever deal with the Leshrac, but nobody's banning him either. So at this point, I wonder if people like just don't ban him for the sake of playing against him to find the counters in competitive. I don't know why, but I'm really baffled at this pick and ban behavior of teams right now.
Mm, yeah, some teams don't really respect what you have on your like repertoire, and it's like I don't know. People trust too much what they play, and they don't really respect what is actually good at that exact moment. So you might be left alone with these heroes that you really like, and some teams just play them much better and get everything out of it.
Yeah. And talking a bit about more heroes and a bit meta, I know we cannot talk about the meta because that alone would leave us like 2 or 3 hours talking. But there were some fewer questions. For example, there's someone asking, do you think Lycan Beastmaster Sven could be viable as support in this patch? I mean, as for Lycan, I can already say no from my part. Beastmaster already has like a good position. Sven support is something you think that might be viable?
I mean, it's always been there, but the mana pool is a real issue. So
Yeah.
I don't believe in that hero.
Your microphone is,
It's,
by the way, away from your mouth. Whoop.
is it?
Yeah.
It should be fine.
Now it's loud again. Yeah.
All right. So I think Sven always has had its problems. There's just too many things that are better. That's the thing. Like, what is actually good when there's something that is better?
Yeah.
Like in support, I don't know.
Okay, I know
For
that
getting
was like
creative
a
here.
random thing, but I took the Beastmaster and Sven because that's something I can actually see happening.
Yeah, people played Beastmaster support,
Yeah,
but it was last patch, right?
pretty much.
And I could see a reason for that, for stacking and
But even now, like at the beginning of this patch, like we had a lot of Beastmaster picks. I mean, there's still the raw, like especially against BKB targets, which I guess it's strong. Even though I think the BKBs with all the new piercing mechanics and everything gets more and more insignificant. I mean, okay, the 10-second BKB charge still rocks the show, obviously. Standing there 10 seconds, being pretty much, yeah, unstoppable. But as soon as some fights go by, then the 5-second BKB is not the end of the world anymore. I think most people play around at this point.
yeah, people pick Winter Wyvern as well against BKB heroes.
Yeah, true.
And
There,
that's
there are a lot of
something
things
to
you can
mention.
counter BKB with right now. What about the other things in the patch? What do you like about this patch? As in certain heroes that come out, do you have hopes that there is another patch before the TI, for example, or some other fixes you want to see?
I mean, there might be a small balance patch, but I don't really see a reason myself. I like how creative people pick right now. Like there could be like a Kotal first pick and
Hmm.
from C9, for example, and things like this, like which get bring some new taste to the game.
Definitely.
And
Yeah, the drafting got a lot more interesting compared to the other patches before. Jesus Christ, yeah, even as a caster, it's a lot more exciting. You have a lot more combinations, what you can talk about, and then in the end, they go for something completely else, something you never expected. Like, for example, MVP Hot Six drafting a Husker as a fifth one, where you talk half an hour about anything else but a Husker. So yeah, that's that's the enjoyment you have
uh-huh.
as a caster or viewer for that matter. Okay, talking a
Yeah.
bit about the TI performance and how ready do you think you are? I mean, you beat Rave, TNC without any crazy problem. You beat your MVP
We
friends Phoenix as well, and you
we
ended
didn't
up
play
being
Rave.
hmm.
We didn't play Rave at all.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah, you dodged them in the round, but they always got taken out by your enemies, so you never had to
Yep,
play them, which is kind of
that's
good, I
kind of
guess.
well, one could say that, but I don't know. I would be confident playing them.
You think you can beat Rave just as the other guys on the way?
Yeah, I don't see any problem.
Okay. So, and how about the Korean scene compared to any other scene? Like if you would put yourself against European teams, tier 2 up to tier 1, how good does the Korean scene stand? For Hot 6 right now.
Uh, it's really hard to say. I mean, I could see like all the regions had like the top teams had problems in the best of twos. It was
Hmm.
like 1-1s everywhere, and I don't know. Like it's really hard to say. I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm
Okay.
just gonna wait for TI and win everybody, I guess.
But I mean, come on, the viewers wanna hear something. There has to be like some prediction. I mean, you're definitely confident. You guys practiced. You showed it in the qualifiers, so there's nothing to be afraid of. But of course, predicting, hey, we're gonna beat the EU teams or NA teams, of course, that goes a bit too far. But you can definitely say you think you're ready for the TI and what's coming there.
Not yet. We have to practice for sure. There are
Okay.
some things that need to be worked on, and after that, I would say we are ready.
Are there
We have time.
special things in place to practice? As in, you guys go into a specific location, playing another tournament in the meantime, scrimming. What is the
Mm.
plan? How do you get ready for TI now that you are with one foot already in that door?
We're gonna try to find some new ways of practicing together with Phoenix, because just screaming might not be enough. But
Hmm.
getting like deeper into the game and solving drafting issues and things like this. Of course, before TI, everybody's gonna study each other like right before, so it's on fresh memory and what's replays, and that's gonna be like the end of the practice. But I don't really know. We haven't really figured the best way yet, but
Hmm. But you're
we
gonna
try
stay in
to.
Korea for the time being, right? So you guys stay in Korea, practice there, and then you go to Seattle.
Yep,
That's the
I
plan.
think so.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any talk about like moving anywhere else.
Hmm.
But if there is a chance, I could see that happen. But most likely just Korea.
Okay. I mean, I would not be surprised if your manager said like, guys, I'm gonna rent us a nice little condo somewhere in Europe, and we go in a completely different scene for a month, and we scrim against European teams, CIS teams, because ping-wise that's possible. Obviously, if you, for example, put yourself in the center of Europe somewhere, then you can pretty much play US East, you can play CIS, and you can play everything around Europe. Wouldn't that be like a tactical advantage? You have figured out the C scene. You know Korea. You go to Europe, scrim before the TI, figure those teams out. Of course, they also get a chance to figure you out, but don't you think you would have an experience advantage over them?
Yeah, I mean, that's when he gets into details. What is actually good, what you should do before TI, and yeah, it sounds good, but it might be also like you showing all your cards, and
Saving strats for TI, I see.
I think our like think way of thinking might be better to not show what we do,
Yeah.
because we are quite creative in a way,
And you
more
told
than the
me
other.
in Malaysia that you're well aware of, for example, the Chinese players, managers, scouts, whatsoever. They scout every other
Well,
team. That's part of their preparation. I mean, everybody does it, but nobody does it as good as the Chinese. Can we agree on this one?
I haven't heard of that, but I could see that happen more in China.
Yeah.
I could see it being more.
Do you protect yourself at the moment being like scouted? No, I'm serious. Like, I
Nobody's.
mean, this is you say like you have to sort of save strats. You don't want to give cards away. So in the scrims, you make sure they are not like accidentally observers. You just
Oh, observe. Of
and stuff
course.
like that. No, I mean that's a legit
That's.
question. Is there a lot of
I mean,
secrecy?
um, I haven't encountered any. Maybe I'm just missing all the scouts, but they're very secret.
So you
Um,
just don't mind it, you
we
know?
should probably lock our door in this apartment right now.
Yeah, they
We
have
never
probably
locked it.
cameras and bugs everywhere in the MVP house. They know
Mm.
everything. They know every draft before you even think about it.
We haven't really played Chinese, so I don't think they know anything yet,
Yeah.
I would say.
Okay, then wait. Let me look if we got got some more viewer questions for the end, because I think we talked about everything people wanted to know about you and Korea, your career steps, how you got the exposure, the reason why you played Earth Spirit and everything. There have been like some other smaller random questions, and I want to get them through before we finish up this. What's your favorite hero, like support
What's
hero right
my
now?
favorite hero right now? Let me see the list. I don't even know. Like, I actually don't know. Bounty Hunter is pretty fun.
Bounty Hunter. Oh, you think track is balanced? Because I say track is imbalanced.
Oh,
Every game
I
I
like
cast
my,
with
I
Bounty
like I
Hunter.
like money. I like
Yeah,
money. I'm not gonna say more.
it's sick actually. Every game I cast with Bounty Hunter, the team definitely wins. It's just ridiculous how much gold they get.
But they can have a Rubik.
Rubik?
What do you do against Rubik? You lose. Rubik is actually the funniest hero.
Of course, it's a hero of great flexibility. What about Earth Spirit? You think he's gonna make it at any point into the competitive scene?
Never,
Never.
never.
Not even in the
1,000,
nerfed state.
100 years of waiting. I'm still here, and it's never been there. It's never gonna be there. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't wanna guess.
Well,
I'm
if you
gonna be
say that,
sad.
it has to be true. But then again, we were surprised by a lot of other heroes that got into competitive. We thought they're gonna be super imbalanced, and then they got some nerfs, and now they completely fallen off. Best example, Legion Commander. Like,
Hmm.
nobody's playing Legion Commander anymore because it's just not viable anymore in the current meta.
I it's these heroes you don't really fully figure out yet. Same as like Bloodseeker. Why would people start suddenly play Bloodseeker? Well, people started to see like good things about it. The good things about it. At least in C, like people actually started to be afraid of it.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I saw
So
today, for example, some crazy drafts, even a Legion Commander, but that didn't work out completely. No, I have to say, if you really take the standard deviation of whatever happened in the TI qualifiers, I think we are approaching a certain meta that is pick and bannable to a certain extent. For example, the Leshrac
hmm
encounter. I mean, it's a hero with 60%. Not every new patch gets a new hero up with 60% win rate. That's unusual. And that's why I was so surprised that still many teams completely ignore the hero when it comes to banning. Anyway, to wrap this up, we are at 1 hour, so I think I got most of the viewer question in. Again, thank you for showing up. It was nice. Take the last some minutes we have to just give shout out to whoever you want to give a shout out to.
Oh, thanks a lot though for just asking for me. It's my pleasure.
Yes.
I mean, I don't really have shoutouts for myself. Maybe for SC. I'm sad that they didn't make it to TI, and hope they gather their things up and keep playing. And I don't know, maybe fans out there could have a shout out.
And sponsors? You have any sponsors to mention?
Hot Six, but they probably don't understand my English.
But that's the
So
good thing about foreign sponsors. Like they don't even know if you do the right marketing or not. Anyway,
yeah,
so
you
if
never
you
know.
have nothing else, then I would like to say thank you again. It was very interesting, like following your steps, how you got into Dota, how you got into video games, how
It's
your
still
whole
interesting to me. So yeah,
No,
I
but
have
it for the viewers it's very interesting because nobody's actually taken care of like how can you follow a player from the very grassroots to where he is right now. All you see is when they reached a certain level, but what was before? How did they get there? The exposure, the practice, the teams, all the failed projects. Most people just see like, oh yeah, that's Jerax. He played Earthspirit, then he got discovered by teams, and now he's here. No, that's bullshit. That's not how it went down, right? There were a lot of failed projects and a lot of practice in between that made you the guy you are today. So you deserve where you are right now, and you definitely deserve to be at the TI. I hope I get to see you at the TI. I'm not sure if I can go, but you definitely go, and
you should.
yeah, I hope so. Like, tell Iceberg to invite me. Thanks.
Yeah,
No, but I
I
hope
have.
if I watch at the TI or if I cast you or if I gonna sit at home with a beer in my hand, I definitely gonna cheer for Hot Six because I liked how you guys played at MPGL. You play exciting Dota, you play proactive Dota. I mean you say you're not flexible enough still, but I say you play a amazing hero pool. I mean you alone play in a normal round of 8 tournament, you play up to 7 different heroes, while other players they are just known for their free signature heroes, and beyond that they're like mostly not 100% performing. So it's very impressive from my point of view. And yeah, this way we can round it up. Shout out to the viewers. Also, thank you to the sponsors that make this podcast obviously possible. You're gonna find an article about what we talked about here on 2P Dota. Go there, find the news with bullet points, and on there, of course, you will also find the links to the YouTube playlist as well as SoundCloud and iTunes. You can always follow Jerax on Twitter, of course, his social media. It's at JeraxI. Jeraxi. I don't know. How do you
Yep,
pronounce it?
jerks.
Yeah, Jeraxi. So
Sell out.
you can follow him right there. And for me, it's at Heflamoke, obviously, on Twitter. And also, huge shout out for Hitbox, making this possible that we can use their platform here and get their support, as well as Vulcan, a big fantasy league where you can go, even in those countries where the item betting and money betting is forbidden, you can still play in the fantasy league, which a lot of people find super exciting. And yeah, just give it a shout, go and play there. And that all being said, thanks again, Jerax, for coming. All the best to you. And that's
Thanks for
pretty
the
much
interview.
it.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
then see
Thanks.
ya.